Well, hello there. Thank you for joining me for 5 minutes. If you're not familiar with our Take Five series, this is where we take around 5 minutes and give you a bit of a preview of what we're going to be discussing and looking at on the following Sunday. So here we are. This is Friday, the 10th of June. This Take Five is going to be referring to the 12th of June, the Sunday coming up. We would love for you to join us in person at 10 o'clock at Faith Church. If not, our teaching will always be on YouTube. You can get to it through Facebook app. You could also go on our website, www.myfaithchurch.org. Hopefully you're taking advantage and downloading some incredible resources that we have made available to you for free, whether that's Right Now Media and Netflix of Bible studies, or whether that's instructions of how to download the YouVersion Bible app on your phone. If you desire to receive some follow-up material, I just encourage you to text to My Faith Church, all one word, this number, 888-403-4294, and you're going to receive some incredible follow-up information, some material that you can use throughout the week that will reinforce what we learn and look at on Sunday. Now, I'm already a minute or so into our Take Five series, so what are we going to be looking at this Sunday coming up? Well, we've been talking about how Jesus, and we talked about this last week, how Jesus, as he approached his disciple making and gathering followers, we looked at a passage of scripture last week where he called people to follow him and become fishers of men. It's a famous passage of scripture where he tells Peter to go out on the boat in the middle of the day when you don't fish. And Peter says, "Because you say so, Jesus. Not because it makes sense to me, not because I understand the logic behind it, but because you say so, I will go and I'll do it." Didn't expect anything. There was no expectations. He simply was being obedient, and he has this miraculous catch, of fish. And then he falls down at the feet of Jesus and he says, "Go away from me. I'm a sinful man. I'm not worthy." And Jesus says, "Follow me and I will make you fishers of men." Well, as he's taking his first disciples, Jesus has some unusual fishing holes to fish for men. Eventually, he's going to partner with his disciples. They're going to be included in some of the miracles and some of his teaching. Eventually, he's going to send them out 2 by 2 into the towns and villages, armed with a very simple message of making disciples and very simple call to get their heart right with God. But before all that happens, he just allows them to sit back, watch the master fish. So we're going to be looking at 2 passages of scripture, and they're always told in the Gospels right after each other. They're actually, in all the 4 Gospels that we have, they are found in 3 of the 4. So these are important accounts. And they're also told right next to each other. So not only are they shared stories or shared accounts that the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, you can find these stories in there, or you find all of these 2 instances in those 3 Gospels, but also what they would be called fraternal twins. They are different stories, but they share the same DNA. And the 2 stories are when a paralytic is carried on a mat by his 4 friends, and Jesus is at this house, and it's probably Peter's house, and he's teaching, and there's no room. They can't get an audience with Jesus, so they go up to the roof, and they lower their friend down. They dig through the roof, and they lower their friend down on this mat. The second story, and it's told right after this in 3 of the Gospels that we have out of the 4, is where Jesus calls Matthew, or his name is also Levi. The same person, just 2 different names are used. And a very unusual fishing spot to go ask for disciples to follow him, Matthew the tax collector. Then after this, he actually goes to Matthew's house after Matthew accepts that invitation that Jesus gave him to follow him. And he's eating with tax collectors and sinners. Both those stories, the paralytic that is dropped down from the roof and Jesus calling Matthew out of his tax collecting life, they share similarities. There is this call for forgiveness. There is this controversy that we see of the religious leaders in both of these stories. We have this idea that both of these people, whether it's the paralytic who would have been considered a sinner because that physical inability to walk, and that culture was viewed as, obviously, this is your fault. God is punishing you. And then obviously Matthew, the tax collector, that was, they have their own category for sinners, right? And the scriptures, they call people that are sinners, and then there's tax collectors. They have their whole category. So both of these individuals were unworthy, and yet Jesus fishes in their pond. So we're going to be discussing both of these passages of scripture. We hope that you'll join us in person. If not, you can get to us through on YouTube. Have a great, blessed day.